Generosity is highly valued. The giveaways, and naming ceremonies, at all of those ceremonies, there's always some gift giving, and even like, for example, if you're going to, we're just talking about storytelling. If you're going to ask for a story, there's a way to do that too. You give a gift, tobacco, or there's certain protocol that you have to use. Don't have to, not everybody, but it's just like it's kind of a rule, that you offer something up. But when you said generosity, I thought about our traditional ways, and I hope that this will, for our communities, trigger bringing back a lot of the traditional ways, including with generosity. The one that I think about the most is I have 4 children, and my third to the oldest, Lance, he got married about 18 years ago, and my mother said, when Lance gets married, I want you to do it the way that my family did it. And I said, really? Okay. And she had told me about this before, but I said, okay, she's 97 today, but this was, a few years ago. She said, yes. She said, I want you to do it the way, and then she told me exactly what we needed to do. So we did. My daughter-in-law and my son had a Catholic wedding, and so before the actual Catholic wedding, we gathered everybody outside of the church, and we had to gather, my mom said, gather goods, that means blankets and all these gifts that you're going to give, because you're going to give those, you give the best to your daughter-in-law's family. And that's what happened to her. They had my mother's family had gathered all these wonderful gifts from the family, and then gave it to her future in-laws. And they could do whatever they wanted with it. So we raised quarter horses. So she said, remember, you give the best. You don't give the cheap stuff, So my husband said, okay, we'll do it that way. So we raised registered quarter horses. So we brought 2 colts, and we had them in the horse trailer in the back of the church. And then we all gathered together, and my brother and my sister were there. And before we did that actual giving, we laid a blanket. They laid a blanket on the ground, and they brought my daughter-in-law, future daughter-in-law, Sunshine, over, and Lance. And it was just, I'm sorry, it was just so beautiful. Anyway. And then my brother sang my grandfather's song, and my mother was there. So that was like honoring someone who's passed. And it was just beautiful. I think everybody was crying. But anyway, and so they put them on the blanket, and they did a blessing, and then my brother sang the song with the hand drum. It was my grandpa's song. And then my other son and my husband brought the horses over, and then we had this big basket of goods, and we took it over to her family and gave it to her, and then they brought the horses over and they handed it over to her family. They could do whatever they wanted with it. They could give it to someone else, or they could, So I think everybody remembered that. Everybody that was present, Indian and non-Indian, because she was non-Indian. And it was just fulfilling what my mother wanted, so. Anyway, sorry about that. Yeah, so those traditional ways, were beautiful, the generosity involved. And my mother said, those giveaways, especially at funerals and things, she said in Indian, what they say is, give until it hurts.